underlying goal and overall purpose of the Washington Parents' Bill of Rights is information. It's that parents and guardians and families are notified and have, in as close to real time as we can provide it, knowledge and information about what their children are experiencing in school and in school-related activities.
I think what's critical to understand is that hundreds of thousands of people in the state of Washington signed on the dotted line this initiative, which was then by a vast majority passed by this legislature, Mr. Speaker, because we have seen a stunning disenrollment in our schools, and parents are sick and tired of feeling like school districts and their child's schools are hiding things from them, like what they are learning in school, their curriculum, their textbooks, and other things.
400,000 plus people sent this initiative to us, and we passed it into law. But before it was even fully implemented, this bill we're now debating was introduced.
What has happened, in my view, Mr. Speaker, is there has been superintendent of public instruction obstruction of the implementation of this bill. I, as a parent, as a father, as a former state legislator, attempted to exercise 3 of my rights as a parent, very clearly delineated in the Parents' Bill of Rights, that was signed by almost 500,000 voters in the state of Washington, unanimously passed by the body across the rotunda, supermajority of this chamber, all experienced people in drafting, reading, reviewing, and passing laws. It was upheld by a state judge. There is no confusion here, Mr. Speaker. There is obstruction.
Our locally elected school boards are not getting a chance to make decisions for their community, for their school. They are being forced by law to provide certain kinds of materials. Imagine the frustration of the parents when they see their kid come home with a comic book. There's a graphic of a woman If it's too graphic for me to talk about here on the floor of the House, is it not too graphic for a teenager to be taking home? Is it not too graphic for the teenager to see this before the parents even get to see it?
What we're asking for on this amendment is that all materials being taught to the children are available for review, and that the parents have the time to come review it.
If there are things in our curriculum that are too graphic to be spoken of on the House floor, I think that if we have some of those things in some of our curricula, that parents should be allowed broad authority to look at the curriculum, and that's all we're asking for.
Unbelievably, as I researched more about this bill, current policy says that a majority of our school districts will allow children as young as 9 years old to walk out the doors of the school without notifying the parents. To me, Mr. Speaker, that is unacceptable.
We are allowing students to excuse themselves from school and go out into public without their parents even knowing about it. And it is dangerous out there. We are one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous state in the country. And we're excusing 9-year-olds to go out in public, no supervision for who knows how long and who knows how often. We have the ability to fix that with this amendment.
Most schools do this right. The problem is that if this bill passes, they have the discretion to do it wrong, and to do wrong by parents across our state.
Parents should know, guardians should know what is going on with their children. If they're suffering, if there's a mental health illness, if there's mental health concerns, if they need treatment, if they need counseling, this is something the parents should be involved in the decision making. In fact, the parent and the child should be the ones making the decision, not the schools.
There is no reason in law to hide a minor child's mental health care experiences from custodial parents or guardians. That's one of the critical points of the Washington State Parents' Bill of Rights.
I don't co-parent with the government, and the schools have concerning secrecy policies where we're hiding curriculum and mental health records and so many other different things.
On March 4th last year, this parental Bill of Rights was good enough for me. And it was good enough for a lot of us. People put their names on that initiative because they cared about having parental rights for their children. This amendment adds a referendum clause to send this back to the people of the state of Washington to let them decide what rights parents have with their children.
Initiative 2081 was an initiative to the legislature. Had it not passed here, it would have gone to the voters. Had it not passed here, and the bill before us had been in the session then, as a replacement, it too would have gone to the ballot.
Instead of putting it on the ballot for the voters, we decided to vote it in as law last year. But here we are, a year later, making this debate on the floor for hours and hours and hours under the cover of darkness, when the news media isn't here anymore, when the public is in bed sleeping. The voters deserve the opportunity to have the final say in this. What are we scared of? If we're doing the right thing here tonight under the cover of darkness, we should not be afraid to let the voters have the last say in this.
The parents and guardians in my district were worried that the reason that Initiative 2081 was passed 82-15 from this floor was to be able to change it. And that the only reason it happened was because it was a trick, is what they told me.
Last year was a really proud moment for me, Madam Speaker, here in this body, in my time serving in this body. I watched the people of Washington State rise up on an issue and meet with their friends and neighbors all over the state to sign an initiative on an issue that is truly important to so many. And Madam Speaker, in that short session, we had so many different issues to deal with on this floor. But you, Madam Speaker, and this body chose to bring that before this body for a vote. And we passed it. And I was proud of that moment. And then I went back this year, Madam Speaker, in the interim, and I went out to my school districts and I talked to so many different educators and superintendents about the problems that they were having in their districts. The problems with money, the problems and concerns about not being able to pass levies because of the issues that were stemming from many of the things that we heard tonight. But Madam Speaker, I just kept hearing over and over again, they're going to change it. You guys are going to change it. And I said, no, don't think so. But here we are after what, 6 hours tonight? We're doing exactly what I said to the people who I talked to that we weren't going to do. We're voting for this. And Madam Speaker, I'm going to vote no, so when I go back and talk to those same schools and parents and people, I can say, you know what, I'm sorry, and I am. And I would encourage you, Madam Speaker, to join me in voting no on this tonight.
I rise for all those girls who are fearful, the bathrooms, the locker rooms, the parents who just want more access and a better relationship to build those bonds so that they're not taken away from them, but that hand is extended between the school district and the parent and the child in a partnership, and that's why I'm asking for a no vote.
The Gallup polling organization issues an annual confidence in institutions poll, which shows the trend lines of public confidence in a wide variety of institutions. 4 years ago, they asked the American people, how much confidence do you have in our public schools? At that time, 41% had a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in our public schools. Last year, we're down to 29%, and that number appears to be going lower by the day. I believe the reason for that is some of the same concerns that are articulated by the proponents of I-2081. Madam Speaker, I would ask that we build confidence in our public schools, preserve I-2081, and reject this bill.
We need to be rebuilding trust The underlying policy that we're changing with this legislation today stems from years of distrust in the system.
When parents lose trust in school districts, what we see with that disenrollment is a lack of funding to our schools. It means lost levies, it means lost bonds, and it means that our school districts are going into the red.
I stand here with the other good members, the other good people in this chamber, Madam Speaker, asking you for a no vote on this bill because it places the government between parents and their kids in matters of their education, in matters of their medical care, and in matters of imagery of them. We introduced amendments that would address each one of those things to preserve rather than gut the parents' Bill of Rights that the people asked for and that their legislators voted for.
You know, it's been talked about tonight that this is confusing, that the Parents' Bill of Rights is confusing and it causes confusion. No, I think just the opposite. It provides so much clarity about responsibilities and roles that parents want to play. And I think as legislators, we must strengthen families.
Our school system, our public school system in this state is in crisis. Its performance metrics are at historic lows. Something like 70% of the students in our public school system can't do math to grade level. Something like 50% can't read or write to grade level. Madam Speaker, enrollment is in decline. Families are removing their children from the public school system. What the Parents' Bill of Rights does is it creates clarity, not confusion. It creates certainty, not obtuse evasion. It creates a system by which parents know what to expect, they know what they can request, they know what can't be hidden from them. This clarity, Madam Speaker, creates trust, creates goodwill, creates positive interaction, engagement, involvement. Don't gut the Parents' Bill of Rights. Let it stand.
Madam Speaker, there are 56 yeas, 37 nays, 5 excused.